Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to review Acura TL 2008 model. And if you're looking for a sporty entry-level mid-size sedan, this might be the car for you. We're going to take a test drive, talk about the engine, interior, exterior, and what some people, including myself, think is a pretty timeless design. We're also going to talk to the owner, and he'll give us his own ownership experience on this vehicle right here. This particular model has a stick shift. When it comes to the exterior design, obviously design is somewhat subjective, but I would say that this particular model is one of the best looking TLs ever, in my opinion. It is a timeless design, and unless you knew how old this car was, it's a 2008, so the design is very timeless. I think the proportions are very good. It's a compact mid-size sedan. Rear lights, I even like those little lights on the side, and just the overall design I think is very well done on this vehicle. And I would say is that it's aged very well. Inside the TL. So this particular model has leather seats, which are very comfortable. They got good lumbar support. They got decent side support. The material is well done. It's not much plastic in here. This stuff is of course plastic, but this has like this soft surface. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a stick shift, and these the owner put in a short stick, so it's like super smooth to change. It's a 6-speed, it's a manual 6-speed, super smooth. I personally think the design has aged very well. It's a roomy interior for the size of this car. All the safety features are quite comprehensive. It does anti-lock braking, it has traction stability control, it has dual front airbags, there's side airbags, there's curtain airbags that I saw. I believe it has curtain airbags. Yep, right there. Curtain airbags. This car also received a 5-star crash rating. Take a look at trunk space. So as you can see, it's definitely decent. It's not as large as, of course, if you have some bigger SUVs and even bigger sedans, but the opening is quite wide. It is fairly deep. You cannot fold the rear seats down, so if you want to have something longer, you cannot do that. As far as daily driver, grocery store, golf bag, all that stuff, it will totally do it. And give you this angle as well. As you can see, it's a fairly wide opening that will give you easy access compared to some, of course, smaller sports cars. All right, so as far as the highlight of this car, many people will say it's this right here, the engine. And this is, you don't get them that much anymore. You don't find them anymore. It's a naturally aspirated V6, no turbos. It is a VTEC. It maxes out as far as the torque, I think about 6,000 RPM. It's a 3.2 liter. It is Honda reliability all the way. This particular car, like I mentioned, is the manual. Some of the Hondas have gotten critiqued for their automatic transmission. I know some of the pilots, their automatic transmission is not always the most reliable, but you can find these cars, if you're lucky, with the manual. We'll talk to the owner as well and get his experience as far as the reliability of this car and when it comes to issues, if you had any issues. But this car has about 100,000 miles on it. This is a front wheel drive only. You cannot get an all-wheel drive. You cannot get a rear wheel drive. So having, 260 horsepower powers going the front wheel tires, there is some torque steering. That's probably one of the critiques against this particular model, is the front wheel drive, and to get all that power down sometimes can be a little tricky. We're gonna drive it and see how it feels within the speed limits, of course, since we're not on the racetrack. But it would be cool to take it on the racetrack. Maybe one day. Just to give you a little better angle of the engine, I think as far as if you're looking for reliability with the sports car, I think Hondas are known for reliability. This is not the stock exhaust. The owner put on some modified exhaust on it, which makes it sound great. driving the Acura TL. This seat can adjust electronically, pretty much any direction needed to adjust. And one thing I heard about this is that the turning radius is not the best. So I'm going to try that right now and see how it turns. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but it is a very, very nice exhaust. But again, this is not the stock. Couldn't really tell a huge difference on the turning radius, but I didn't go 360. But as far as daily driving, I don't think you have the issues with the turning radius. First impression, this car would have been a little bit more quiet if it had the standard exhaust. You know, if you're looking for a sporty sedan that's reasonable and it might give you the best buck for the money, you may want to consider the TL. One big drawback is the torque steer, since it is a front-wheel drive. Driving, I'm cruising at, in the neighborhood 25 miles an hour. It is quiet, and the throttle response is good, and it's obviously not a turbo, so you do have to kind of climb a little bit with the RPM to get it to move. But that is, for some people, they really enjoy that. They have to work a little bit to get the power. But yeah, this sound is just, I don't know how well you can hear it, but it's just absolutely music to my ears to listen to that. The suspension is slightly firm, but not uncomfortable. And again, this is looking for daily driver. It definitely functions well as a daily driver. Like I said, if it's 5 in here, there's a car seat back there. If you have kids and long distance driving, it's comfortable. As far as the gas mileage, it's somewhere between 18 to 20. It does take premium gas. But yeah, once you get to 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, you definitely feel that you are working with something a little bit extra. And what I think it's so neat about these older natural aspirated engines is that you have to kind of get up there to get that power, which is, and of course with the manual you are in full control, and it's just quite enjoyable. So if you're looking for something, going to work, and you want to get a little smile on your face, and you don't want to break the bank, these cars, I've seen them from as low as $3,000 to $10,000. I've seen some TL, the S model for $13,000, but you can definitely get them for around $5,000. Obviously probably have a little more mileage than this car. This has 100,000 on it. So and I'm going on bumps now, so you can feel the bumps, and I'm not sure if the owner has lowered this car, or I'm not sure if it's the stock tires on there, and I'll ask him. You do feel the bumps, but it's not uncomfortable. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're joining us. So on this channel we do car reviews. We also like to give some real life advice, okay? And I'm gonna give you some real life advice that you can take if you want to take it. But this is actually one of my dream cars. And when I first moved to the United States, Acura was not in Europe at the time, and I don't know if they even sell cars in Europe now. But I remember seeing this on the street, and I thought it was such a cool looking car. And this is the first time I'm driving this car in my life. So the advice is, if you want to pursue your dream, it could be something like driving the car that you think is really cool, or it could be something a bit more meaningful. If you want to pursue something, sometimes all you have to do to get that thing that you want is just to ask. And it can be difficult to ask, but say for example, if you want to marry someone, well, you gotta ask. All I did to drive this car was to ask. I appreciate a ton the owner, and I just asked, and he was kind enough to let me drive it. So if you are looking to do something, sometimes all you have to do is just ask. The worst thing that can happen is that whoever you ask says no, but sometimes you'll never find out if they will say yes or if that thing will happen unless you ask. So that's the real life advice for today. Just ask, and if you ask, you shall receive. It has been said. Another thing you notice with this car is it feels, at least in my opinion, a little bit special. I think the way they've engineered it, the way mechanically, the way it's put together, it feels very solid. It does not feel rattly at all. And again, this is a 2008 model, and hopefully you did get an impression of it. You just have to enjoy the car. See how this VTEC behaves. You do feel the torque steer, but the beautiful thing with the manual is that you don't have to. Oh yeah, you do feel the torque steer. You definitely feel. I felt the torque steer, and I can only imagine the TLS. So yeah, it's powerful enough considering it's a front-wheel drive car. I do think overall it's a comfortable car. It is it's a fun car to drive. It is stiff enough that you feel that you can go around the turns. I'm not sure how the regular TL sounds, but this one sounds awesome. Oh man, yes, that is human ingenuity at its finest. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that. Consider at least looking into see if you can find a TL that's in good condition. And again, it is a Honda, so the engine is solid. If you can find one with the manual, I think it's even better. And then you can just enjoy that VTEC and working that rev range. Good job, Honda. Good job, Honda. You guys did well. I applaud you. I hope that was helpful. For those of you who may be considering buying a used car that is new to you, that you want a car that is reliable, you want a car that can fit your family, a car that you can use as a daily driver, a car that don't break your bank. If you have any thoughts, any comments, we always appreciate those, whether those are positive or constructive feedback. We appreciate it, and maybe we'll see you sometime around. Take care. Drive safe. We are sitting down with the owner. So first of all, thank you for letting me review your car. And so some things we talk about in the car, just figured, who better to ask than you, Yeah. So maybe just first, from how long you had it?
I bought it in 2006, and it's a 2005. So I've had it, 14 years?
Yeah, okay, so wow.
Oh yeah. Bought it with 12,000 miles.
Okay. So what's your overall impression? Like, what's your experience being with it?
I love it, man. I had a TL. I had the previous generation TL, and I actually vowed I would never get another Acura because the transmission went. It was a common thing on that era of TL. And the Honda Odyssey had the same transmission. Long story short, I was looking. I needed to upgrade, and there was one close to me, the one that I have now, that was a stick. Okay. That's what I really, really wanted. Yeah. And ever since then, man, I've loved it. I've done some light modifications to it, but it's treated me well.
Good. And you did, because I mentioned the exhaust, but you did an exhaust modification, right?
Yeah. I did exhaust. I did a cold air intake, and then some style mods. I can't think from a performance point of view. Slotted rotors, I did do that, and then I did put the A-spec wheels on it.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
different
And the
wheels.
stick shift.
Yes, correct. Yep. Thanks for reminding me. I put a Comtech short shift kit,
Okay.
which is pretty simple to do.
Okay. And it sounds good. That's what I
Yeah,
saw. I think
yeah,
it sounds really
a
good.
little drone, but it definitely sounds good. To be honest, man, it's one of the best sounding cars I think I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of saying in the video that, you know, this might be the, you know, one of the best cars in that price range.
Sure.
That's if you're looking for like a sporty entry level mid-size sedan.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, you know, maybe the Audi A4, like the Infiniti G35, BMW 3 Series. For those of you at home, if you're looking at maybe like a sporty car that's everyday driver.
Yeah.
If you have kids, you can fit the kids. It has decent trunk space.
Yeah.
Are there any drawbacks that you experience? Like any big things to look out for? Like,
Yeah.
is there? Let me say, put it this way: is there anything you would say to not get the car? Would there anything that you would think?
You know,
look at something else.
Not really. I think that you know, mid 2000s to me is a sweet spot for a lot of automobiles. You know, that especially if you can get one with a stick, because it's
Right.
just analog enough. With that one, not really. I think the challenge you're gonna have now is just finding one that doesn't have like a million miles.
A bunch of miles.
Yeah, because I mean, they just a lot of them have miles, and a lot of people that want them, you know, they keep them.
Right.
Or, you know, the other thing I'd say to look out for is somebody that just overly modded it out, right?
Okay,
Just did
yeah.
too much stuff
Yeah.
to it. But yeah, man, no, they're it's treated me really well. And if you're looking for one, if you can find one at a good price, it's a good pickup.
Yeah, because I think the design's very clean. I think if you do too much to it, I think it just looks very,
Yeah, it's
I said
pretty classic.
timeless.
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty classic.
it's aged really well.
Yeah.
I think the design.
Yeah, it's one of a few, and actually, I think Acura's coming back around. But no, they did a really good job with it. You know, if you stick with some of the factory stuff like A-spec, you know, spoiler
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot, just a few slight
Yeah.
things just to spice it up a little bit. But you really don't need to do a ton.
Yeah.
Right, you just
Yeah.
don't, man.
Yeah.
But the fatal flaw with it, in my opinion, is just that it's front wheel drive. You know, it does have some torque steer and whatnot. I mean, if you can work with that, but otherwise, you know, it's pretty legit.
Yeah. Maybe the torque still helps you keep you within the speed limit.
That's right. That's right. It does. I mean, like you said, it's nothing you can't learn, but you know, this the fact it's not rear wheel drive, you do have to deal with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes premium.
Yes.
You
yeah.
have to put premium.
Have to
right?
put premium. It's I think it's 3.5. No, 3.2.
2.2. Yeah.
Yeah. V6.
And it's a VTEC, right?
Yeah. And you can hear it. You can definitely hear it kick in, without a doubt. Oh, I did put a throttle body space on it too.
Okay.
That's small, but I think I had it off, so I just did it.
Have you had any issues like mechanical or interior or anything?
Nah, I mean a few little small interior things, like, you know, stuff was peeling.
Yeah.
You know, I replaced that. The subwoofer in the back that started that broke, so it started clapping. So I fixed that. Otherwise, I had a coil. I had to fix the coil. I mean, typical Honda stuff. I mean, it's nothing large. I had an oil leak that I ended up having a guy do, but I mean, I didn't have to do that. I just did it because you know, I've had it and I just wanted to look out for it. But no, mechanically, it's super reliable, man. I haven't done the clutch. Everything is still good.
Yeah. Cool. So, if you're lucky enough to maybe find something with decent mileage, looking for a sporty entry-level sedan, you might want to consider TL.
And like we talked about, man, I think, you know, the other thing for me is I still like driving sticks. Sticks are going extinct, we know that. But for some people that like to drive them, you know, that's what makes it stand out. The Accord, the new Accords, the 2.0 Tourings, those are pretty legit too, man. I had considered, I don't need another car, but I had considered as a replacement. So that's another one out there.
Yeah. I think the cool thing with a natural aspirated, especially the stick, is like you kind of have to work it to get the peak power.
Yeah.
Like with the turbo, it kicks in lower RPM. I think this makes it,
I
think, more engaging. Just kind of you have to work with the engine to kind of get that.
Yeah. Less stuff to break too.
Yeah. True. Less parts of it. So
that's it.
So yeah. So I think it was a fun car.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that the mod you've done to, I think is just enough. Yeah. You know, it's discreet, timeless. Design I think is good. So, you know, it's a fun little car.
Yeah, man. That's cool. Well, I appreciate you taking me driving it, man. It's all good.
Hey, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys home, if you have any thoughts, you know, if you think there's other cars that are better in this price, put in the comments.
That's it.
If you think this is if this is it, you know, give it a thumbs up and hope to see you next time.